lot of attention going to be, of course, on Paddy Pimblett, who seemed to make weight and look great doing it, despite all the talks of him getting fat between fights. He'll be a minus 265 favorite against Jordan Leavit, plus 225. We talked about this as being kind of the right matchup at the right time, a favorable style matchup. It may be a little bit more about keep banging the drum that Paddy's coming at this point and give him a chance to get there, Luke, to some degree, in what you can do with UFC matchmaking, which we don't normally do that, but to some degree, you can wiggle a little bit. This seems to be that type of matchup. So what do you expect that we see? I mean, Paddy is, boy, does he love the crowd, Luke, and they love him. Do you think that's what drives him into situations where he ends up taking damage before winning? Or is it just, that's his style, that's his hunger, he gets in that?
I think it's like chicken or the egg. I think the fans respond to that, right? I think he's got that in him. If you watch them just on the grappling department, like Jordan Leavit is a very good grappler. Like I'll say this. This is a good test for Paddy Pimblett's development. This is a good one. If he passes it, it doesn't mean that he's going to win a title. Far from it. But it would be a nice sign for him to be able to pass this because his striking, I think the striking defense is something that needs to be worked on a little bit, obviously, but his grappling is pretty great. And so if you can beat this guy grappling, which we'll see how he beats him, but if you can beat him grappling, that would be a pretty good sign. The point I'm trying to make here is the difference between like Paddy and Leavit as a general fighting posture is that Pimblett is a little bit more of what we called in the military a hard charger. He's a hard charger. He has a certain amount of physical intensity that he brings, sometimes to his own detriment, but when it's going, it goes really well. And what you're actually seeing is he keeps a little bit of that physical intensity, but in his last fight against Vargas, he dialed it back just a little bit to make a better, I think, to get better takedown opportunities, or I think to get up on top is what he ended up doing. I think I actually found the back. How did he win his last one? I have to go back and look here. Paddy Pimblett won the last one via rear naked choke. That's right. But he was patient along the fence line is the point I'm trying to make. There was a real patience he showed relative to what he had showed previously. Leavit is a tricky grappler, and he's a very good one, but he's almost got a very defensive sensibility to him, especially in the striking. He has like these big like cover-ups and moves away a lot. He doesn't really engage in that sense. And in grappling, like for example, his win over Sales was the guy initiating the takedown, and then from this sort of like slow-moving scramble, he locked up this inverted triangle. So he's tricky in that way, but he lets the game kind of come to him, whereas Pimblett kind of tries to define the fight by virtue of taking the fight to the opponent. And you might say, oh, that's a bad matchup. That's exactly what Leavit wants. It could be that. That is one possibility. The other possibility is that if Pimblett's game is developing the way that it needs to, he's gonna run over Leavit. That's the other possibility here. Like, there's a value to letting the game come to you a little bit, letting the fight come to you, but there is a thin line between letting the game come to you and then getting your ass run over by someone who is bringing too much intensity for your defensive sensibilities, right? You got to match that intensity at certain times, and I don't necessarily see that. Like, for example, you go back to the Puelles fight he had, where this is the one that Leavit lost. He was kind of accepting of his opponent just bringing the takedown to him and then kind of having these scrambles where he was doing well enough, but he couldn't really, there wasn't enough intensity in the wrestling scrambles to get the better of it, and he lost that fight as a consequence. Like, dude, that's a path that Pimblett could follow, to say nothing of the difference in striking, where for all of Pimblett's striking deficiencies, dude, look at the numbers here for just a second. Let me read them to you very quickly. Okay, this is the bad side of Paddy Pimblett. He absorbs 3.89 strikes per minute. It's a little on the high side, and we've seen him get, rocked a lot. But dude, strikes landed per minute, over 6. That's high. Conversely, Jordan Leavit only lands 2.5 strikes per minute. He's just much more muted in that sense. So there's a real question of, if Pimblett brings the intensity, but is a little bit scientific about it, but steady about it, he might just run over Jordan Leavit. Leavit has to bring a certain kind of, and by the way, I think Pimblett brought this up. I believe this is true. Dude, Jordan Leavit in the UFC has fought at the Apex. Let me explain something to you. He made a point. Leavit was like, oh, well, the fight's going to be at 9 p.m. Are the Brits going to be really drunk by that point? Motherfucker, they're going to be hammer time. by the time that fight comes along. Are you fucking shitting me? They're going to be drunk as a skunk, shouting their lungs out. He is not at all prepared for what that crowd is going to be like. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, this is the Lion's Den, and Ken Shamrock's not showing up anytime soon, Luke. I agree with you. I feel like the combination of the submission win and the second fight showing you, okay, there's more under that hood than maybe he's shown since coming here or that we think. And look, I don't know. I'm starting to get crazy like a fox, Sly Fox feeling from Paddy Pimblett, that he wants you to think that he's a little bit limited. A little Billy Hoyle right there, Luke. It is hard. Goddamn work, right? I mean, a little bit of that. I think he rolls through him too, and the chicken or the egg about the fans and how they love him. They fuel him, Luke. There's no question about it. I mean, it's maybe I don't know. Maybe he likes getting into a little skirmish, Luke, and then rallying out of it. You certainly can't keep that spirit all the way to the highest level, but on this level, with the expectations for this crowd and this close up. I don't know, Luke. Look, we talk about majors. We're going to get into UFC 280 again and that, Abu Dhabi card coming up. But, dude, that's a freaking major. MSG, a major. I mean, I wonder if we need to readjust that. London's going to be a major soon, Luke. A major pay-per-view inside of a stadium if once we get to that point. And this guy's a big part of getting to that point. So he gets another one of these wins here with, the O2 going just bad shit crazy. He seems to want the smoke, Luke. I can't believe I'm coming around on this. He seems like, the gimmick is just kind of like, all right, but I think there's more under that hood, Luke, than we know.
When they first announced this fight, I was like, dude, Leavitt's a tricky grappler, and he is a tricky grappler. Like, there are a lot of ways this could go poorly for Paddy Pimblett. That's why I like this matchmaking. Like, first two fights, they were just trying to get him warmed up. Fair enough. Didn't mind it. I understood it for what it was. Now they're asking him to beat someone who really has the capacity to beat him. All right? I didn't really believe the first two guys had the genuine capacity to beat him. This guy does. He really does. Jordan Leavit is a very, very tricky grappler. But I think if Paddy Pimblett can bring that intensity he typically brings, but in his last fight, like what he did, show moments and a general sense of when to press the gas and when to press the brakes rather than just sort of being all gas all the time, he's going to win. I'm going to pick Paddy here. I wasn't going to pick him earlier, but I think I've changed my mind a little bit about it. I think it's a tricky fight. Make no mistake. But Paddy, I'll put it this way, should win this contest. That's what I think.
Look, he's charmed you a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not one of these guys that buys into like, oh, he's the next big thing out of the UK. I don't think that's true. We don't know that. And I always go back to it. Like Soren Bach whooped him and then went off to Bellator and like doesn't have the acclaim, and it's kind of weird because that guy, like Pimblett, was a 5-round fight and Bach beat him basically grappling. Like it can be done. I've seen it done. So I have real reservations about his upside. I think that's only fair, not just in the striking, but overall, I have real reservations. However, the dude trains hard. He gets a lot of shit by being a big personality that I think is a little bit unfair. This is a winnable fight. He trains with a very good coach that I have a lot of respect for, Justin Flores, among other ones. He deserves the respect that he's owed. And I feel like I don't get involved with the fan side of it, and if I'm not saying not you, but the proverbial you out there, if you guys like him or hate him, I leave that entirely up to you. I don't really get involved in it, so I feel like I have a little bit of an opportunity to make every assessment is biased, but I'm not biased in the fan sensibility way, at least. And as a consequence, he's a good athlete. He trains really hard. He's got a good team behind him. This is good matchmaking on the part of the promoter to give him some trouble, but put him in a winnable context. I'll just say this. It's a real bad sign if Pimblett can't beat Jordan Leavit in this way. It's a real bad sign about his upside. But if he wins, it's a great one. He should be. It would signal a very positive sign for his development.